Hello guys, I have a 2011 Chrysler 300. We have a Misfire on serial number 2. Code-wise we have P0300 and P0302. I'm not going to bore you through the scan tool, I already have done that. Cylinder layout, this is a 5.7 V8, you got a 1, 3, 5 and 7, a 2, 4, 6 and 8. So the problem cylinder is the first one on the passenger side. The first one I'm going to do, I'm sorry guys, we're going to do a clear flood mode. We're going to crank the engine over and listen to how the engine is cranking. From the get-go I know this is going to be a mechanical problem, but let's do that first. And then we'll take a vacuum gauge. We're going to connect the vacuum gauge to a intake manifold, and we're going to observe the vacuum and look at the needle to see if the needle is going to bounce or not. Now if the needle is going to start fluctuating, that of course indicates the sealing issues on the engine, and then we'll use a first look sensor to see how that actually look in a digital mode, so to speak. So let's do the rotor compression test. I'm just going to crank the engine over and you guys can listen how the engine cranks. Okay, we can hear that the engine does not have a consistent cranking. We have a dead cylinder, and now I'm going to hook up the vacuum gauge. I'm going to start the car, and then we'll look at the intake manifold vacuum and see what the needle is doing. You can see it, we have a very low intake vacuum, around 14 inches of vacuum. You can see how much this needle is fluctuating. That's not good. Of course, the engine is pretty loud. Okay. Next step, we're going to use a first look sensor. I'm going to connect it to the same port. This is actually oxide. This is the purge valve line, goes into the intake. So I'm going to put my first look sensor connected to the intake, and then I'm going to use actually cylinder number 2 as a sink. I'm going to be able to get this is a 2-wire system. That basically the coil driver is in the power control module, so we got a constant power and we have a control wire, so we should be able to see a primary ignition waveform, and we're going to look at the waveform look on a first look sensor. Channel 1 is going to be my first look sensor. You can just leave it on DC volts, you don't have to go to AC, doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and put, 5 volts. I'm going to increase my time to 50 milliseconds. The channel 2 is going to be my primary ignition waveform. I have to use my attenuator, so we will, let's see here, use a 20 attenuator, 20 to 1. Protect our scope, and let's go 200 volts, might work, and alright, so we should be all set, and we can start the car. Okay, very good connection here, and let's look at the waveform. So this is our sink. This is number 2 primary ignition waveform. Let's take a look at it real quick. What this looks like. Burn time. It doesn't really matter that much. It looks pretty decent. However, when you look at these pulses, this is a V8 engine, and we should have 8 of these pulses between these two ignition events, and we do not. So let's zoom in a little bit and see here. All right, and so definitely we do not have 8 pulses. We can move the cursors here. This is a clear indication that we have a mechanical problem with the engine. It's where the first look sensor get really useful. So this is basically those what we see on our needle on our vacuum gauge. This is when our vacuum gauge is going to bounce every time we see that we have a different in the vacuum. And so let's just go and put rulers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we divide this into 8 segments, and we should, each of these segments here, this should have 1 pulse. It should be nice and even. And you can see it's absolutely not there. So to get deeper into the waveform, it doesn't really make that much sense anyway, because you really cannot tell what's going on there other than you have a mechanical problem. And now we're going to use the first look sensor, not a first look sensor, the pressure transducer. So anyhow, I got my pressure transducer installed in cylinder number 2. I didn't even realize this engine has 2 spark plugs. This is my first time that I work in this kind of engine. I know many of you guys have already worked on this engine before. This is my very first time, so I'm very unfamiliar with this system in the first place. So let's go ahead and start the engine over and look at the waveform. Okay, we had started around 80 psi, and then we went up to 123, and then the pressure was around 135 psi, something like that. I should get more than that. Anyhow, let's go ahead and look at, let's zoom in and see what's happening here. This is what we want to see. And here's a problem. This is our compression stroke. I should, let's see if I can, that's better. So this is our compression stroke, kind of top dead center. This is when the cylinder piston goes down. They call now the expansion stroke, not the power stroke. This is where we have our exhaust stroke, and this is around. I could put cursors and all that, but honestly, it doesn't really need it, because right here we can see our problem. We can see that our exhaust valve it's not opening. And we have a spike here. This really should be pretty much at the 0 psi. We are at like 50, 58, 59 psi. We should be right down here. This event, this exhaust event, should be pretty much at 0, and it will be similar, something like that. So this whole event should be flat. I mean, there's going to be some fluctuation, but it should not see the spike. So pretty much, we know now that our exhaust valve it's not opening anymore. It does open, but it's closing early, actually, a lot early. It opens here, in this area, but it's closing itself much faster than it should before the intake valve opens. Two, three, four strokes, and right in here, this is actually a very advanced exhaust. Let's put the cursor here, and here. I'm assuming it's probably like 20 degrees or maybe 15 degrees, maybe I'm mistaken, but let's see here. I think this is advanced, that's why it's closing earlier. It's kind of hard to tell. Let's try this. It's hard to tell when actually exhaust valves open. Let's see if I can get this a little bit more. Sometimes this will help if you do kind of this vertical zoom, and you can now see that it kind of opens here. This is the one more time. It's a nice feature of Pico. So this gives you a little bit more detail. Again, it's not rocket science, but filter here. I think it's about right. And we're 24 degrees before top dead center. You can see here 24 degrees before top dead center. This exhaust valve is opening, and that's why it closes itself much quicker, and that's why we have this big spike here. It's kind of interesting that we can actually see on a vacuum gauge. From my experience, a lot of times when you have a problem on the exhaust valve, we are not going to see that on the vacuum gauge, but we could see it on the first look sensor. This probably is more severe than just the kind of valve that leaks a little bit. And so anyhow, something else we should do a leak down test, which that's going to be difficult as well. It would be nice to do a leak down test just to rule out that the valves are not damaged, which I don't think they are. I mean, this is probably the lifter, and that's kind of for the future what we can expect repair-wise. Do we have to completely rebuild the head, or do we have to do the head job? Redo the valves and all that, or do we need to well, either way around, you want to take the heads to the machine shop and get all that done for sure. I don't know, I'm just kind of mumbling right now. So anyhow, I'm kind of debating right now. I mean, I'm gonna... Okay, so let's do this. Let's just go ahead and remove the valve cover, and then we're going to have a clear picture, what's going on, better picture of what's going on, and I can, hopefully, if I can get the both valves in a top, in a closed position, and do the leak down test to make sure they don't have any leaks at the valves. That should be the next step. And so what I do expect to see, I do expect to see that my the exhaust valve is loose, and it's open, it's closing itself too fast. And I don't think this is a problem with the spring, the valve spring, because these are engines, again, they're notorious for the hydraulic lifters problem. So anyhow, let's dig into it and see what we can find. Got my pressure transducer hooked up now to cylinder number 4. Let's see what the good cylinder looks like. This is interesting. This one has the same. It's just not the other one had number 2 had like a 50 psi. That's wild. So here we also see that our exhaust valve is closing earlier as well, and we can see that we have a, again, this area should, from here, this area should be all pretty much like that. It should be zero psi, but this is pretty interesting as well. So it looks like we have a problem in this cylinder as well. The compressions that are higher, it's a 145. We had like close to 128, 130 on number 2, but that's what I did not expect to see this. Now let's see, when did the you can see here that the valve is not closing, close a little bit later. Well, number 2 is like 20 something degrees, and here is 32 degrees. I think it was like 25. So seems like this is bad as well. That is very cool. So let's go ahead and check the number 6. It's the same thing as the number. The same as a number 2. Wow. It's almost like jump timing or something. All right, let's do number 8. Let's do number 8, and then we'll go to cylinder number 1. Wow. Let's do number 8. I'm not sure if I can actually start the car at this point. I might just have to do cranking, but that's okay. Let's do number 8. I'm not sure if I can actually start the car at this point. I might just have to do cranking, but that's okay. This is insane. On this one, exhaust valve is not opening at all. What the heck is going on here? Well, you got no compression. It's like 82 psi. Seems like more, when we start. What in the heck? I mean, this is clearly, case where the exhaust valve are not opening at all. It's a classic example of the waveform. How is this even running? All right, let's do number 3. That's just one that I can get it easy to it. I'm hoping to get some normal waveform. Finally, I guess this should be a little bit better. Compression is 200 and let's do this. Okay, so the running compression is 160 psi. Now you can see here that we don't have those humps. This is where the exhaust valve is opening. Now, zoom it. Now you can see here the intake manifold. It's actually very low. I guess because I had a it's not just not running right. So it's like only four inches of mercury. You can see the vacuum is pretty low here. You know, I got the plugs removed and all that, so I mean I'm not concerned too much about this. But this is the main event here that now we can see is that these plugs are opening the way they're supposed to. And this is what this waveform is supposed to be. This should be around 0. Let's just 0 psi actually. This is 0 around this. It's a little bit actually high. I should set up to 0, but that's okay. I mean, I can just put 0 here. But then anyhow, this is what our normal waveform looks like. And I'm very, very surprised to see this. I did not expect to see a complete bank out of time. I don't even know how this car is running, to be honest. Pretty much runs on 4 cylinders. Maybe some of these other contributed a little bit. The number 8 is completely shut. Interesting enough, I had a specific for Misfire for number 2. And random Misfire. I remove the cover and let's see what's going on. I just can't see how is it possible that every lifter would collapse on the bank 2. I guess it could. I don't know, but I don't see how that could even happen. All right, let's dig into it some more.